Hello, everyone. Welcome to PAX East Day 2. I'm so excited for all the games we're going to play. Let's go.
My name is Jeremy Nelson. I am the founder of Little Buffalo Studios, and we are making a chill, cozy survival crafting game with a talking campfire. So it's called Akiiwan Survival. Akiiwan's an Anishinaabe word. It means it's the land. Basically, it's a game about like how if you work with the land, you would actually survive, and if you didn't, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And we have a proud Indigenous-led team. So I'm Red River Métis, originally from Winnipeg. We also have Mohawk and Anishinaabe contributors on our team as well. Part of the vision of it is trying to like bring in some of those stories, but in like a way that kind of is not like literal, but more about like the real truth behind what our ancestors did of living off the land for 10,000 years, right? Yeah.
What kind of, you already answered my next question. What kind of things might we experience in the game?
For sure. So the game is built around moons. So in Anishinaabe, the sort of culture and teachings, every moon has a name. We all know that like in different moons, you can harvest different things. And I think we like to say like we're a deeper survival game, but also a more chill survival game. And I think the depth comes from all those little details. So it's like, you know, I think in some games you could probably like get raspberries until winter or something like that. And this is about really appreciating that every moon has something to give you if you know where to look. That's all told through our fire. So the fire is kind of the heart of the game. And it came from a conversation where we were all talking about in our different nations, like how we have similarities and differences, but there's like some things that just kind of all come together. But it's very hard to represent in one way, except for the fact that one thing we all have in common is that we've all sat by a fire. And so the concept is essentially like, what if the fire has been listening for 10,000 years? And so the fire is kind of like a grandmother or grandfather, and it can help you with everything you want to know about surviving, but it also kind of wants you to be independent. Yeah. And so it's not going to give you everything away, right? That's not its job. Its job is to sort of teach you and share its wisdom, but also let you explore. So it's a nice mix of, like challenge, but also it's never so challenging that it really hurts your brain, which I think we wanted to include. The other fun things that I think are really different about it is we really wanted to like showcase and honor every craft. And that's why we're sort of standing by the birch tree. I mean, there's like literally like birch is a sacred tree for a lot of nations, and there's so many things that can be built with the tree, including probably most iconically like a canoe, right. Which is like kind of like a bicycle. It's a perfect invention that hasn't changed since it was made. And so we're really like honoring that. And so we want, what we're doing is that whenever you unlock a craft for the first time, the stars come together in the night sky and show you how it's made. So it's a nice way to sort of honor each craft, but also like tell a fun gameplay moment as well. The last really fun thing, and this evolves, so there's a nice story to the game that evolves from fall to winter to spring. And that's partly told through the fire, but part of it is told by these carvings that you find throughout the land. And when you put them on the fire at night, it changes your dreams.
Oh,
yeah.
That was my next question. Because I was like, I saw the stars and they show you how to like do things. Is there anywhere in the game that you're planning to put like some kind of like real world backstories in terms of like which nations contributed what parts of the story or anything like that?
I think probably what we'll be doing is like having ways to access supplemental content. So it could be what Never Alone did, where like when there's additional supplemental content, there's something on screen that appears so that you can get like go in with additional depth to it. But we're also working to build sort of a community-led version of this. So this could also be played locally is the idea long term. So it'd be like you go to a community and every young person could pick a craft that they like and pick an elder that they could talk to, and then they could make it part of the game and make like a little local version of it as well. So, I mean, it's really like, so I should be very clear that we're sort of like, so we just have our pre-alpha, and we have a whole year where we're basically building this with our community. And one of the things I found out as a game developer is that talking about a game before it's made is like, I don't know, like dancing about architecture. It's impossible. Yeah. It doesn't communicate anything. And so we're super excited that we're at a point where we basically have something that's real and you can play and be tangible, and that we're sharing it. So the nice thing about the fire is the fire can tell a lot of stories. And that was one of the important things, is that we didn't have to be singular in telling one story. It's like now we can go out and share it even broader, and the stories can, I don't know, come together in a way to be like one-to-one, or doesn't, because like even say within like one nation, there's so many different people and so many different stories. We can't represent that all. So it's a way to like allow it to a lot of different viewpoints. So yeah.
We just need another game.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the long-term vision, so for reasons that will be explained in the game, you sort of arrive in this place in fall. You don't know why or when you are even, and you make it through winter, and then by spring, the place that you're in has started to flood. And you have to build a canoe, gather your stores, and build a fire carrier to take your fire with you, and then paddle off to a new destination. And so we're sort of based around Great Lakes in this game, and so all of the trees and plants and animals are what you would find on the Shield and the Boreal Forest. What our vision is for the game is that actually you could travel around the world and explore like so many different places, because every place has a story that goes back tens of thousands of years, told through the plants and the animals and the crafts. And so that's the long-term vision of the game. We hope it's infinite and outlives us. So yeah,
that would be great, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did the studio or how did the game like come together?
Sure. So I was fortunate. Some of the core team, we were working on another project, and I think we kind of actually, let me tell you, the actual game idea sort of came from a moment that I had. So I moved back to Winnipeg. We were taking care of our parents during the pandemic. Had like the rest of our family was working in health and education, and that was impossible. And we wanted to be close to them. And like everyone else, the pandemic sucked. It was this really like, I don't know, like weird day that was like still cold. There was still ice in the river, and I was taking our dog for a walk, and it was like a pretty low point in my life in the pandemic. And out of nowhere, this like warm wind that probably like was a Chinook came in, and it like picked up all of the leaves that were dead from last year off the ground and blew them all by me into the river. And it was just kind of this healing moment where I was like, it was like permission to let go of something. And then it made me think about all the moments in my life that I'd gone back to nature for healing.
Yeah.
And honoring that was sort of, oh my God, it makes so emotional. But honoring that was kind of the heart of, I think, where this idea came from originally. And how to tell that by actually doing it. Like, it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing. Relationships are so important in almost in every Indigenous nation, and there's words for all my relations. And that applies to like trees too. And the more you spend time in a place, the more that you develop that relationship and the more you care. Like we care about the things we have a relationship with, whether it's a tree. And I'm not talking about talking to the tree. I'm just saying that if you go back to a birch tree and it's helped you survive through 7 seasons or 7 moons, you have a relationship with it and you're appreciative of it. And I think that's kind of the core of the gameplay, is it's not hitting people over the head with a message. It's just experiencing something that a lot of us have experienced, where we have enough of those interactions that you just care more. But it's through fun gameplay. It's not through like an encyclopedic sort of message. It's just about like living through changes of the seasons and being like surprised by the way that the land can support you if you know where to look.
Yeah, if you support it back.
Exactly, yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like people, I know it's not done, but with the intention of what you're putting into the game, is there anything that you want people to take away from the game when it's finished?
I think it's just that, I think it's respect, really. It's kind of that feeling of like respect and wonder, I'd say too. Part of the game is really honoring crafts, and I think a lot of crafts kind of like, people think they're primitive because they're made out of wood, or because they're made out of an organic material, and so by the time you see it in a museum case, it's like degraded. It doesn't. These things were all incredibly ornate, they were beautiful, but they were also like this level of ingenuity that you only understand when someone has lived from the land and sees so many things that we've lost the ability to see. Like, I think most of us, literally don't see the trees for the forest, right? And like, trees are trees, and that's it. But every tree, and I think that's it. But it's like doing that through gameplay, right? I think the only way you actually feel those lessons is by doing it. It's not by, it can be by reading and hearing it, especially from like an elder or knowledge carrier, but beyond that is by doing it, and you're like, oh wow, it's amazing that this and this are all there and they come together to make that. And there's nothing primitive about that. That's incredibly like inventive and like it should be celebrated. So I hope by like appreciating the crafts that people like appreciate broader how actually advanced people were in like pre-colonial times.
Oh,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Trying to pay more attention, and I was reading some things by Ken Monkman
Yep.
about like the name of the dance, but how it had been like misinterpreted entirely. That it was like more of a celebration of like a third gender in the tribe and things like that. I don't know. I think those things need to be more appreciated and more visible for people.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to know how much we've lost, but I think the one thing we have to be certain of is that if people have had survived for like over 10,000 years, and we don't have to put a number on
Yeah.
it, but like that they'd figure something out. And I think not only figured something out about like just like culturally about living together, right? Like you don't survive that long, often in difficult situations unless you actually know how to live together.
Yeah,
and so
you know
that
what
comes,
you're doing.
yeah, and that comes back to good relations, right? So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking with
Well,
me.
thank you so much
And
for coming in.
I'm excited to play it whenever it comes out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Thank